Product discovery is an awesome part of the product manager role, and for a lot of the B2C products, it's actually one of the most important parts that the product manager owns. Now, one of the biggest challenges with product discovery I found is how long you should actually spend on it. So in this video, I'll share a framework that I have created to help me navigate the ambiguity of product discovery. This framework will help you to determine, based on the level of risk, what is the level of confidence you need to gain through spending more time on product discovery. What is product discovery? In short, product discovery is all about creating a process where product teams have a way to create a deep understanding of the customer problems and then have a process to determine what are the best things to build or what are the best ways to solve those problems. There's always a lot of pressure on finding the perfect answer, and this leads to teams spending a lot of time on gaining more knowledge about the customer before going into validating assumptions or start building features that will help. What is the framework? The framework that I created is kind of a relation between the time spent on discovery should be relative to the level of risk. The framework has three components. Is it a one-door decision or is it a two-door decision? What do I mean by that? So imagine you go through a door. A one-door decision says that once you got through that door, your decision is irreversible. You can't go back through the same door. A two-door decision says that, once you go through the door, you can come back as many times as you want. And this really determines the things you need to consider before making that decision. Second part is, what is the level of effort required to build this idea? Third one is, how much confidence do you have in the data available? What is your understanding of the customer problem and how much confidence you have that the feature or the idea you have is going to answer that customer need? Product discovery can mainly help with the third element of the framework, which is the confidence you have, and that is why you have to determine how long should you spend on building that element of the framework in relation to the other two. So let's look at some examples. As you can see in the visual, you have a level of risk and how long should you spend on product discovery, or ultimately on what is the level of confidence you need to have. In this visual, I pretty much highlighted three sections. One section is where the risk is really high. And this might be that you don't know what you have to build. You might need to validate whether the problem actually exists. It might be a space of really high ambiguity. And in this time, your level of confidence maybe should be quite high. Should be something like 70–80% before you decide what you need to build. Now, this means that you will spend more time on product discovery. I would really challenge you to start validating with prototypes as part of product discovery and finding a ways to easily validate your riskiest assumption before you decide what to build. But it's really important to create a structure and to have learning outcomes so you don't spend too much time without an action, because even at this space, it's really important for you to create a plan of how you're going to create a feedback loop with customers, because that is the fastest way for you to learn. Second example, mid-risk. This means that you have already a good understanding of the customer problem. Maybe it means that it's really easy for you to build features, and maybe it means that you have a lot more two-door decisions available for your space. Now, an example could be you need to launch a new feature within an existing product. For this stage, I would probably look at around 40–60% level of confidence. That is because your level of risk is a lot lower, and any higher level of confidence, I would ask the question of what is the return on investment on me learning more about the customer before building something, knowing that I have ways to adapt those decisions, I have ways to build something relatively quickly. So some suggestions would be, for this stage, you should focus on planning ways to quickly validate multiple approaches. You should create a framework for mapping out the different opportunities, maybe in an opportunity solution tree, and then ultimately create a customer feedback cycle to learn as you build. Third section, low risk. That section I see more as optimizations, experimentation. Now, this might be that is part of a mature product, and ultimately is about looking at driving specific business metrics by optimizing the customer experience. Because this is so low risk, probably the level of confidence doesn't have to be that high, or the time you spend on it. You're probably looking at 20 to 30% level of confidence, because it's so easy to validate ideas with customers. It's probably better to put it out there in their hands than to refrain from that. And I think now for this stage, the focus should be on building an experimentation cadence and on continuous learning. And the suggestion would be to have a really clear structure of your hypothesis so that you're really clear on what you're testing. Thank you so much for watching. Please drop me any messages about topics you'd be interested in me covering, and please subscribe for more product manager tips. Bye.